S. Aggies, Aggies.
Good afternoon, and welcome to today's Always an Aggie live webinar. On behalf of everyone at New Mexico State University Foundation, thank you for joining us. My name is Christine Trujillo, and I am a proud Aggie alumna and a philanthropic giving officer here at the Foundation, working with Aggie Athletics. I'm also very pleased to be moderating today's webinar, The Sound of Aggie Pride, the Pride of New Mexico Marching Band. This topic is so meaningful to so many Aggies, whether they were a part of the marching band or not. And of course, that's exactly what this webinar series is all about, connecting NMSU alumni and friends with topics that you have told us are close to your heart. Whether you're hearing from NMSU leaders or successful alumni, or NMSU campus insiders, we want to bring you the best information about what you care most about at NMSU. And that's what we're going to do here today. So let's get started. We're going to spend some time talking with our special guests, and later on, we'll open it up for questions. First, joining us today from the Pride of New Mexico Marching Band is Alexa Ortiz-Hernandez, a music education major. She is the Pride Band's head drum major for 2026. Welcome, Alexa. I am also pleased, so very pleased, to welcome my friend, our other special guest, retired U.S. Army Sergeant Major Mike Cano, who is a big legend around here. A 1993 NMSU graduate, Mike had a 30-year career with the U.S. Army. He has played trumpet for popes, presidents, Queen Elizabeth II, and Nelson Mandela. He opened the Bill Clinton and George W. Bush libraries, welcomed leaders to 3 G8 summits, and heralded the relighting of the Statue of Liberty in 1992. And for his service, he was awarded 2 Army Commendation Medals, 2 Meritorious Service Medals, and the Legion of Merit. And here at New Mexico State University, he was recognized as a Distinguished Alumni for College of Arts and Sciences in 2025. But he says his greatest honor is having played taps for more than 15,000 times at Arlington National Cemetery, an honor entrusted only to those who can dependably deliver a flawless performance. His career began at NMSU when he received a full scholarship, although at the time he planned to be a music teacher. Destiny intervened when he came across a solicitation for applications to play trumpet in the prestigious U.S. Army band, Pershing's Own. And that was the catalyst for his 30-year Army career. Today's conversation with Alexa and Mike will include the magic of how the Pride Band thrills Aggies everywhere during performances and how participation in the Pride Band has shaped and continues to shape the academic, professional, and personal lives of its participants. Again, thank you for joining us today. It's my pleasure to welcome Alexa and Mike. Alexa and Mike, welcome. Why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself? And let's start with Alexa. Hopefully our viewers got to read a little bit about your bio, but why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Alexa?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I grew up all of middle and high school doing band. It was what I loved doing most. I couldn't imagine quitting, and for a long time I wasn't going to be a music education major, but by my senior year I met professors here. I came to marching competitions here. I saw Pride, and very quickly I changed my mind, and ever since I've been doing everything I can with Pride and trying to be as part of many groups as possible.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Band does something very special for everyone. Mike, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Hi, thank you so much. I first want to thank you, Christine Trujillo, and Leah McDonald, and the Alumni Association, first of all, for giving me this opportunity. It's just a great honor, and I'm just so proud, and I've been so proud my entire career of the pride of New Mexico State, of the music department. Again, I hold it so close to my heart because it's because of all of you is the reason why I did what I did. So I was born and raised here in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I went to to Bradley Elementary School and then to Court Junior High School. And then I graduated from Las Cruces High School in 1983. Went on to get a music education degree from New Mexico State University. So again, being part of the Pride for 5 years, and being the section leader and being part of also a lot of the Pride band members were members of the Las Cruces Symphony, which is really amazing as well back then. A lot of wonderful musicians, and so I went ahead and got my music education degree from NMSU. Very proud of that. And then went on, of course, in 1990 to win a position with the United States Army Band Pershing Zone in Washington, D.C. Very proud of that. And the opportunities that that group gave me was just amazing. And even thinking now after I retired in 2025 after 30 years, there were so many connections between me, the Army Band and NMSU and the marching band. Just so many connections over my entire career. And so I'm really happy and really looking forward to sharing all of that. And I'm very proud again of NMSU and everything they gave me.
That's a great career. And just as a little inside tip, Mike and I went to high school together at Las Cruces High, and we were both in the band together. Even back then, everybody knew the talent of Mike Cano and that he was going to go far. He certainly has made us all proud at Las Cruces High as well as NMSU. So thank you, Mike. Thank you for sharing your talent with us and sharing it with the world as you have. Alexa, let's ask you something here. You know, as a drum major, there's a lot of leadership involved in that, and you've just recently been named to be the drum major for 2026. What a great accomplishment! Congratulations. So maybe can you share a moment where you've worked with, you've seen a student and you've seen them truly grow into leadership, the skills themselves, another band member, maybe someone coming up behind you. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, there's been so many chances. I mean, I get to see them when they come in for freshman camp, and everyone is so scared because they're joining this 250-piece band when some of them came from really rural areas. We had a student, she was homeschooled, so it was her first time ever doing marching band, and her first band camp here, she was so scared. And I was one of her section leaders at the time, and she would come up to me and tell me, and I was always like, no, no, you're gonna like it, you're gonna like it, like just stick to it, like it gets easier, it becomes second nature. And by our last event of the season, we were hosting a marching competition here, and we were about to do the exhibition for all the finalist band. And uh, when we when we were walking up to warm up, she came up to me and she was walking next to me taking pictures, and I was like, "You like it now, don't you?" And then the following season, she tried out for leadership.
That's awesome. That's, getting some feedback and some help from you, I'm sure gave her the confidence to move forward and try out for that position. So congrats to you for helping her and continuing to spread that along. Hey, Mike, why don't you tell us about some Aggie traditions that you've carried with you from your time at NMSU?
Yeah, so we do have a handful of traditions. First of all, just learning from the amazing music professors. Of course, and being in band, I mean, it is, or even a football or whatever. It's a team, it's a family, very, very close knit, right? And so they always taught us to respect each other for sure, respect, um, and to be kind, right? To be kind, to be respectful, and to be adaptive, and with because not everybody has different personalities. All this to be able to be friends with everybody, and help everybody. So all those traits and all those things that were taught to me, um, they did carry on over to the Army Band in my career. And again, just being able to, I mean, I'll have a story that I'll have to tell later about. I wasn't a drum major like Alexa, but I was the section leader, so I did have to do some of the drum major skills to, help march, to help rehearse the trumpets, and learning all that as well. It really took me into and gave me some opportunities in my career with the Army to display those the skills and again to help me progress, and number one, to help the group and to help like the Herald Trumpets or whatever group I was working with, to help them grow and to have them happy at their job, to make them happy and very respectful. So that's a big thing for me, is I want to make sure that everybody works happy and is respected. So that was really huge. A lot of really great opportunities in the Pride Band for that as section leader, and also with the other groups as well, being section leaders of those groups. But it was funny because when I would rehearse the trumpets in the beginning, right before marching band, if somebody was late, I'd be ready to go. I said, okay, everybody, let's get going. All right, here we go. Four quarter notes on C, and I'd go one, two, lap, and I would look at the person that's late and say lap, and they knew it. They put their horn down and they take a lap around the horseshoe, right? And they love that. And I actually had to do that to myself a few times. I put my horn down somebody else would take over the sectional. But it was just something cool, like a little tradition that we had, something that we respected, and it wasn't a punishment. It was just one of those things that we all just really love to do. If we're late, we knew what we were going to do. We are going to run that lap and be proud of it and run it and then come back and then just really, be part of the section. So it's kind of little things like that. But we had a lot of little things that helped with my leadership skills, you know, and able to give me some insight on how to be a leader, especially at the level of where I ended up being in charge of the Herald Trumpets towards my career, being section leader of the trumpet section, ceremonial band trumpet section. So all the leadership skills, I always thought back about what I was taught here at NMSU. So it was really neat. A lot of really cool things happening. So
Well, I'm sure as drum major, Alexa appreciates that you would, as a section leader yourself, you kind of cracked the whip on those that were late so that she wouldn't have to do it as, So hint to all those section leaders in the Pride Band now. So help your drum major out, right? So,
absolutely.
Mike, I want to ask you about a very special piece of music that is special to all Aggie fans, but I know you have a very deep connection to this music, Olympic fanfare. And for those of you out there, you all know this. It is what the Pride Band starts every game with, and it's this beautiful, just beautiful heralding piece of music. So, Mike, why don't you tell us about your connection to that piece of music?
Of course, yes. This was one of the biggest coincidences that you can think of. It is an Olympic fanfare, but it is called Salute to a New Beginning. So it is a different fanfare to that. It's not the Olympic fanfare, but so the story behind that is when I was in the Pride Band, it was 1985, I believe. Uh, some of the music directors and professors heard this fanfare somewhere, and they acquired it, and they arranged it for marching band. They handed out the music, and we loved it. It's a wonderful, beautiful fanfare. It's just written really well. So anyway, so it became the Pride Band's signature fanfare, right? The signature fanfare for the Pride Band. And they called it simply fanfare every time we played it. Even to this day, every game, the very first song is fanfare, right? So it's become the tradition, big tradition. So I performed it for my last 3 years, and I went on to go to the Army Band, and they continue to play it. Yeah. So I was there, and my very first White House arrival, I'm not sure if it was the president of France or one of the presidents was visiting our President Bush, I believe, And they gave us the music 2 days before. We're going to rehearse the music, memorize it, and then perform it the next day, or in a couple of days. So anyway, we got the music out. We started playing, and guess what the music was? That I was performing with the United States Army Herald trumpets, ready to play for the President of the United States. And guess what music it was? It was fanfare. It was the same music that the Pride Band had been playing, right, at every game. And I just couldn't believe it. And so we rehearsed it, and I turned to the guy next to me and I said, "Hey, Denny, this is amazing. This is our signature fanfare at New Mexico State University. And we've been playing it for so long and all these years, and it's just something that we do." And he looks at me kind of concerned, and he starts asking all these questions. Well, who's the trumpet director there? Who's the music? Who's the orchestra director? Who's so on? And he's asking all these questions. So pretty concerned about it. We finished rehearsal, and again I went to him and I said, "I can't believe it that we're playing fanfare, right?" And again, he's asking me questions, very concerned. And I finally asked him, "Well, Denny, is everything okay? Why the concern?" And he says, "Because I wrote it." And I thought, "You wrote fanfare?" And the name of it is, the actual name is Salute to a New Beginning. And he wrote it. He's the one who wrote the fanfare for the United States Army Herald Trumpets. And he wrote it for Ronald Reagan's inaugural ceremony. So that was the fanfare. And I just couldn't believe it. And he couldn't believe it. But then I thought, oh my gosh, he wrote it. Maybe that's why he's so concerned. How did we get it? Right. So I immediately called the trumpet professor at the time, and I told him what happened. And he couldn't believe it either, that was a coincidence, right? And so I got them in contact with each other, and they came up to agreement. And Denny, the person that wrote the fanfare, said, "Absolutely, you guys can continue to use it. It's my pleasure." And since then, so we almost lost it for the year there. But since then, yes, that fanfare, which is one of the United States Army Herald Trumpets, one of our signature fanfares. That's a fanfare that even to this day, just the other day, I heard them play it for an arrival, and they played Salute to New Beginning. And again, the Pride Band does it every game, at the pregame. The very first thing they play is fanfare. So that coincidence, so every time I performed it, I thought of NMSU and all my memories that came up. And then every time I come to the Pride to the game, I reminds me of all the memories I have of the Herald Trumpets and the Army Band. So that connection is a lifetime connection, with that piece of music. So it's very special to me. Absolutely.
That's amazing. That's such a great coincidence story. And it's just so awesome that we have that connection, that as the Pride Band, we have that connection now to the US Band and the Army Band. And it's just that it's so meaningful to you. And now as Aggies, it will be just as meaningful to all of us. So every Aggie out there, when you come to our first home game, September 5th, and you hear the Pride Band play, just think of Mike and think of all the times that he's played it and the connection, the very special connection we have to that. That's amazing.
And Alexa will be conducting that.
Yes. How exciting, Alexa.
That's
How
exciting.
exciting for you. Yes. It's going to have a lot more special meaning for all of us now. Hey, so Alexa, as I mentioned, I was in band with Mike. And I joined the Pride Band my first year, but what I want to know is what surprised you most when you joined the Pride Band? Because I can tell you what surprised me, but I want to hear from you.
Well, when I came here, I was originally from like an 80-piece high school. Like it was not one of the smaller ones, but it wasn't, I knew everyone. Like I knew everyone's name. And so coming here, I was like 250. That's a lot of names. That's a lot of people. And everyone was like, "No, it's so welcoming. It's such a good experience." And I was like, "It's 250 people. There's no way I'll get to know everyone." But I came in and immediately the drum majors were learning my face, learning my name, like trying to get to know things about me. And so I think that was what shocked me the most, that it wasn't very long after I came in that people were trying to get to know me and trying to push me to go out of my comfort zone and take the opportunity to reinvent myself because I was in college now.
That's great that they were so welcoming to you. And as I've walked the horseshoe during summer band camp time, I've seen that happen. So that's really exciting to know that the Pride Band is still so welcoming to the freshmen. I'll tell you, I was very surprised coming from a high school band that we used to compete all the time. I was very surprised that at the university level we did not go to competition. So that was just my own personal recollection of that. So interesting that's a big difference. So Mike, looking back on your time as well, you mentioned already that you've had quite a few, that leadership has been such a big part of your career, both as in the military and as being a Pride Band. But I think there's another story that I'd like to hear you tell us about, a story at basic training. For those of you that have been in the military, I can imagine, I was not, but I can imagine everyone's a little nervous when you're at basic training, and you know that you have to impress all the leaders. And Mike, you really stepped up. So why don't you tell us about that story? I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do. Thank you for the introduction on that. Yes, so I had to go to basic training once I enlisted, once I received the position in the band, Army band. So I actually got the job with the Army band before I enlisted, which is a really it's a little different than the regular Army. But I did go to regular basic training at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. And one of my friends, before I even went to the military, he was in the military already, and he said, Mike, don't be the very first person and don't be the very last person. Okay. If you get through the 2 months of basic training and they don't know who you are, that's good. Okay. You don't want the drill sergeants to know who you are because they'll smoke you. They'll make it so difficult. Of course, that's your training and that's totally okay. Understood. I said, okay, great. So I'm going to try to stay in the middle. So I went to basic training. I was staying in the middle, didn't really, stand out much. But then the last 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks of basic training, we started training drill. So we had to march like for graduation. We had to do a block formation and right turn, go into formation. So kind of marching band, right? Marching band stuff. So we were starting training on that. And so the platoon guide is one of our group from our platoon, but he's like the senior person that is chosen from our group to lead us, the platoon guide, right? So we had gone through three platoon guides at that point. But the platoon guide that was there currently to start our drill, he didn't know how to teach. He didn't know how to teach drill. He didn't know anything about marching. All he learned is to be like a drill sergeant. So he was trying to be a drill sergeant. So he was like yelling at us and tell us left turn now and just no nothing no um no I lost the word, but he wasn't able to teach us to right turn on this and the right beat. And he wasn't even giving a beat. He was just giving commands and yelling us and calling us names and on and so forth because he thought that's what he had to do, which was fine. So we were trying that for a day, and then I finally stepped out and I said, I need to try to fix this. It's like marching band, right? Easily done like marching band. So I went up to him real quick. His name was Marky, and I said, "Hey, Marky, be nice, be nicer. You don't have to call us names. We're all the same here. Let's try to learn together." So I started, so the drill sergeants weren't around. So that was good. So I started teaching Marky, okay, Marky, do this and keep like a clock, so I'm giving them all the marching band stuff I was a marching band, so that I know, and the um, drum majors as well. So, keep a beat, left, left, right turn, arch, left flank, and I went through the motions and I taught them how to do it. Well, while I was doing that, guess who came around the corner? The drill sergeants. Okay. So the drill sergeants came around the corner, they saw what was happening, and they just started smoking us. They were yelling at us, and we were doing push-ups and sit-ups, and they were just yelling at us. And we stood up, and he says, "Marky, you're fired. Cano, you are," and they had to look at my name tag because they didn't know who I was. "Cano, you are the new platoon guide." Oh my gosh. And I thought, what did I just do? All right, I'm fine. Well, let's do that. And so right away, I went up to the front of the group and I talked to them about marching band, not marching band, but what we're going to do and how we're going to learn. And there I was, kind of like a drum major, and thinking just with all the skills I learned in marching band, oh my gosh, I just got a leadership position. I didn't think about that then, but now I think about it being a leader now because of my skills with the marching band. And so we went ahead and I trained them. And I actually had a chance to go just for 10 minutes to the platoon next door to show them how to do that as well. So they just threw me over there for 10, 15 minutes and they brought me back. But anyway, I don't remember if we won the marching, the drill contest or whatever. I don't remember. I don't think we did. But anyway, but because of that, oh my gosh, that just jumped in at the last minute as a leadership thing that the Pride Band, the skills that the Pride Band gave me, or just music in general and the Pride to be able to step up to a leadership position like that and be successful with a group like that that had no idea how to march or keep time. And we did really great. We did really great at the end for graduation. So that was really a great story. I haven't told that story very often, but it's really a testament on what NMSU and what being in music and being in marching band and being in the Pride of what they taught me. So it was a really neat experience.
Thank you for sharing. That is a really great story. And it is a
Mhm.
testament to your natural leadership ability that it's natural, but as you said, you also gained from being in music and from being in the Pride Band, really helped to instill that further, and so that you could carry that on and help others. While you were being a leader, you were also helping others. So that's really a great testimony. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
sharing.
Thank you, Christine.
And I have a question for both of you. Um, being in band, especially at collegiate level, it involves so much. So it's just like athletics. There's so many things going on, trips and things like that. How does the Pride Band support students who may be balancing academics, work, and band commitments? Who wants to go first?
I can answer first. Uh, Pride is super flexible. We have students from all majors. At the beginning of the year, if there's like class conflicts, we work something out. Like, okay, these days you can be late, or people will have alternates with their spot. So there's always someone learning their spot in the drill, and they just switch out. But it's very flexible, and everyone's come to know each other very well, to where people that are in the same major can talk to each other, help each other, and it just gives you a community where you can learn from people who might just be able to help you or might be studying the same thing as you or have gone through the same um of like having to go through hoops to make your schedule work out. There's always someone to help you.
Mike, anything to add?
Yeah, that's a really great point, Alexa, that um the Pride Band is not 100% music majors, right? They come with all different types of degrees that they want to shoot for. And so again, I remember the flexibility of the Pride. If there were problems with scheduling, anything like that, yeah, we would definitely the Pride would work around it and we would adjust and we would support them. We would support them even if they're it's not like they're putting the Pride Band second or anything on their list. It's because they have these goals that they need to meet for their interests. And so I remember the Army Band, or excuse me, the Pride Band just being very flexible on that. And on the other side of that, though, we were very flexible, but the students of the Pride Band loved the group so much they would do anything in their power to be able to be there all the time. I mean, I know people used to be sick and they used to come in, or with a marching band, we would come in early in the morning, Saturdays mornings at 7 o'clock or whatever, Saturday mornings, and everybody's there. Everybody's there, and just the commitment that the students had for being in the Pride, the commitment they had to the Pride. They were proud of that, and we were all proud of that as well. And we all felt the same thing. We felt that commitment and that love. And again, it was really nice to be part of that group. And so I think that was a really great thing, Alexa, that you said about being flexible because we're all there. We're a family, and we're there to support every single member. Mhm.
Thank you both. Thank you both. I know that that helps really help students find their footing on campus and belong on campus, you know, where they can have a family and people to support them. I've often heard that NMSU really feels like family, and it truly, truly does. You know, we carry that family on and on and on, as we just evidenced recently with our Remembrance Day, where we always remember our fellow Aggies that we just remembered on May 1st. And those where we remembered some fallen Aggies. But, you know, once you're a part of NMSU and a part of the Pride Band, you are always a part of the family at New Mexico State. So thank you for that. So I'd like to, at this point, invite questions from the audience. We do have already a couple coming in. So I'd like to move to some of those questions. So this one comes from Kaylin Abeta. And it's actually one of the questions that I, similar to something I wanted to know as well. If you could go back and relive one game day or performance, which would it be and why? Mike, Alexa?
Yeah, I can answer this one. I think I would probably go back to my first one here at NMSU. I obviously going from a high school stadium, even on its fullest day, to a college stadium is a wild difference. And I I think I blacked out during most of it because I was so excited. But we were at the top of the stadium, we were about to do the entrance, and I just remember running down the stairs, and then all of a sudden it was over, and I was like, "Oh my God, I need to do that again." And then obviously in the stand, it's a whole bunch of dancing and screaming, and I was counting down until the next week where we could do our next performance. But it was such a blur. I was so excited.
Yeah, I did so many games, so I they just kind of all blend together. But I remember once that we were traveling east. I think we were going to California with the Pride Band, and we stopped in Arizona. Somebody that's listening, if they were in the band, they may correct me on a few of these things. But we stopped at a school, I think in Arizona, for a performance, kind of a practice performance. It was rainy. It was really rainy, and I think that school had a huge band as well. So it was rainy and kind of muddy. So we were doing our show, and as soon as we started playing, it wasn't a very powerful introduction, but we were playing our music. We are doing great, like we always do. And then there was a break in the music, and all we heard is, "We can't hear you," from somebody in the audience. And at that point, we had the huge forward horns to the stand moment, and the whole crowd just gasped because it was so powerful. And to have that person just saying that quiet, "We can't hear you," was just an amazing moment for me and for the band, remembering that. And it was really kind of funny afterwards. Everybody was like in awe of the Pride Band and how amazing we were and how powerful we were at that time. So that's one that kind of sticks out in my head. All the other ones kind of blend together, just always remembering the sectionals and the trumpet warm-ups at the beginning were always really very memorable to me. But that's what stood out to me.
That's great. Yeah, thank you for sharing. I know that now, Alexa, when the Pride Band plays and when they play fanfare, there's all the trumpet lines seems like they're, you know, on top of the stadium, right? And that's so powerful. I remember when I was in band with Mike, the Fulton Center wasn't here, so we used to march down the hill, and it was just so powerful to march onto that field for the very first time. Very exciting. So we have a couple other questions that I definitely want to get to here. So from Alexis Delgado, what inspired you to start playing? So let's start with Alexa.
Well, I started originally in at the end of elementary school, so fifth grade. They were like, "There's beginning band," and that was the only option. There wasn't orchestra or choir yet, and I don't know, it was just an opportunity I could take, and I started. And I remember being like, "Oh, I guess yeah, I'll do this for the rest of the year." And then I was like, I would see the band playing at like pep rallies, and it was still middle school. It was very small, and I was like, "No, I want to do that." And every year that I would stay longer, I would see another group and be like, "No, I want to do that." And eventually I saw a marching band, and so I wanted to keep going. And then I saw a college marching band, and I was like, "I need to keep going." And then I met really cool teachers, and it was it was part of an urge to like help other people get the experience that I kept having.
That's great. Mike?
Yeah, so when I first started, I had a neighbor that played trumpet. It was in sixth grade at Bradley Elementary School, there on the corner of Loman and Esperanza. But I was there in sixth grade, and my neighbor said, "Hey, Mike, why don't you be in band with me?" And I said, "Okay, cool." So I went to the band. Mr. Frank Rivera, who is still a very good friend of mine and who is still teaching music at a school right now. So very proud of him. So I went up to him and I said, "Sir, I would like to be in music." And he says, um, "You can play clarinet. We need clarinet." And I said, "Okay." I didn't know what a clarinet was. So I went to my mom and I said, "I want to be in band." Band teacher said clarinet. So she goes, "Okay, sounds good." The next day, my neighbor said, "Mike, why don't you play trumpet?" I play trumpet. So play trumpet with me. And I said, "Okay." So I went to the band director, Mr. Rivera. I said, "I want to change to trumpet." And he said, "Sure, trumpet will be fine." So I remember going to White's Music Box where I got my first trumpet that year, 1976. I work there now, by the way, at the store. And I got my first trumpet from White's Music Box and I just started playing. And what happened is that it became very natural to me and it became very easy to me. And I just loved the music part of it. It was just really cool. So I would hear something on the radio in sixth grade. I'd be playing for 2 or 3 months already, but I heard like Chuck Mangione. Oh my gosh, that's a trumpet. And then I'd learn it. And then I'd go back, like a couple of weeks, a month later, Mr. Rivera, hey, look what I can do. And I'd play Chuck Mangione's piece. Um, and on and on. So I would learn all these pieces from online and oh, not online, but on the radio. And it just became such a big part of me. I just love playing trumpet so much. I love the music so much. And to learn new things as I am doing now, it's learning new things is a lifetime um, part of being in music. And just learning the new things just got me so excited. And so anything that ever came up, I just wanted to try to play it. And I think that helped me because that, of course, I was practicing, right? So it was really nice to be able to do that. And then I went into middle school and I got first chair in middle school. And since then, I got to Las Cruces High School and I beat out all the seniors when I was fresh, So because I just love playing, I just love playing, and it just came very natural to me. And of course, going through the Pride and NMSU, I had all the opportunities to be in the symphony and the concert band. I played in 12 groups while I was at the university, and the Pride band was like one of the top groups. I just loved being in that group, and then on to the career playing with the Army Herald Trumpets and the Army Band. And then being back here, performing with the Mesilla Valley Concert Band. Now, just to throw this in, I will be doing the Aratunian Trumpet Concerto with them this coming Sunday, if anybody's interested. But that's just being and loving music right up front, right at the first day, and feeling so comfortable with it. It took me where I am today. So I just loved it.
Complete natural talent. If you were playing Chuck Mangione in elementary school, I mean, wow, complete talent, just natural talent. And
Mhm.
Mr. Rivera, he was also my first band teacher at Conley Elementary. So I'm so happy to hear he's still teaching. He's leading, he's encouraging the lives of many music students now. That's wonderful to hear.
It is.
So we have another question from the audience, and you somewhat kind of answered it already, just with the ending of your last question, but see if there's anything else you can add to that, Mike. And it comes from Scott McLaughlin. I know one of your friends. I know you are still playing, even playing a lot. What is it like to transition from playing for a music career to coming back to Las Cruces and finding groups to play in? And I'd like to also see if you can add in how you're helping young students yourself.
Well, thank you. Yes, Scott was a trombone player or is a trombone player, wonderful trombone player, by the way. And he was in the band with me at Court Junior High. So we did a lot of concerts together. And coming back, part of that answer is coming back after being away for so long, being away for 33 years, coming back and performing with so many people that I've performed with already. All these memories popped up when I sit next to Scott in the concert band. He sits right next to me. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I performed with him back in the 70s, next to him in the band at Core Junior High. We did end up going to different high schools, but and then coming back, it's just a big circle. And it's really, it's comforting actually to me, very comforting. When I came back, I didn't expect to see this many people that I knew. I didn't. I thought I've been away for 33 years. Most likely everybody's gone on away to do other things. But my first rehearsal in the concert band where I'm performing, I see all these familiar faces that I hadn't seen in 30, 40 years. And it was so comforting. It just brought back so many great feelings about all the great performances we did back in the day. And here we are doing more great performances. So that I'm very, very comforted uh, by having you all play with me because it's an honor for me to play with you, to perform with you. It comes, a lot of so many great memories come up. So again, it's just such an honor to be back playing with everybody as well. And as far as the second part of the question, helping kids, well, part of my job at the music store is um, visiting schools, calling on schools. Every week I visited 22 schools every week in El Paso and New Mexico. And I'm there to first of all, I'm there to learn. I didn't have the opportunity to teach, but to see the band directors now and the way they're teaching, I just love sitting down and watching them and learning. Wonderful, wonderful band directors out there. And it's really neat to learn from them, but also to be able to share these stories with the kids. I'm from little Las Cruces, right? And the people that I perform with are from Eastman and Juilliard School of Music, the St. Louis Conservatory, on and on and on, all these huge music conservatories, the best in the world. And here I am doing the same job from Las Cruces, New Mexico, doing the same job that they're doing. And so I love to tell the kids, hey, you can do it too. You try hard, you dedicate yourself, you love what you do, learn to love what you do. If you don't like practicing so much, learn, learn to love it because it's a really neat thing to learn to love what you do. And so it's nice to be able to share all this information with the kids. I love taking my trumpets. I love talking to them and it really helps them motivate and it gets them excited about music. So,
Well, Mike, you are putting Las Cruces on the map with your talent. So don't sell that short as you are
thank you.
continuing to enrich and change the lives for young students in El Paso and New Mexico. And so you're helping change lives. Years from now, as we're talking about Mr. Rivera and other band directors,
Mhm.
students will be talking about you. So
Oh, thank you,
we do have a
Christine.
couple other questions, but I'd like to give Alexa another question that may not necessarily come from the audience real quick before we get to some of the other ones. But Alexa, we talked a little bit about traditions earlier, and there's one tradition that has come about recently within the last few years. Hopefully you'll know what I'm talking about, but what can you tell us about how traditions evolve while still honoring the legacy of past Aggie bands? And by that tradition, I mean a very beautiful dancing tradition. So what can you tell us about that?
Yes, recently we've added mariachi and folklorico, and that's been amazing to watch coming from someone with all my family grew up in Mexico. But yeah, there's traditions that go way back, like we do salvation at the end of every rehearsal, and it's really inspiring to look up and see all the faces trying to learn the words, and then you see all the seniors that are realizing like, wow, my journey's coming to an end. But there's so many traditions, and there's sections have their own silly traditions, but I think the watching mariachi and folklorico is probably really meaningful, like from my heritage.
Yes, it is so beautiful. And I know it makes everybody so happy to watch them and see them perform. And now it is a part of it's a part of our culture, it's a part of our history, and now it is a part of the culture and history at New Mexico State and the Pride Band. So that's so much fun. So I'm gonna go to another question out from the audience. A friend of ours, Mike, Stephen Chavita,
Oh,
describe how music helped you grow into something that took you to bigger places in the world out of little Las Cruces.
uh-huh. So yes, hi Steve. Thank you so much for the question. I think when you asked this, I think a lot about people like you. Steve was a drum major um, at Las Cruces High School and at NMSU for the Pride, and learning from those leaders like that. First of all, leaders like that helped me because every time that I came up with something, with some sort of decision I had to make, I would think back at all my leaders. Hey, what would they do? How would they think? How would they do this? And Steve is part of that. All the drum majors part of that. All my professors were part of that. And so the again that those skills and those leadership skills that a lot of my peers had, that was a huge influence on me. I mean, it's an influence on everybody, right? And if anybody that's going to ever be in a leadership position, or just or even just being part of a team, yeah, you're even just being part of a team, you're a leader. Somehow you're a leader in that team. So I just learned a lot from leaders like that. And I think just giving the opportunity to do things, giving me the opportunity to go all state or to play a solo or just to stand in a certain point, the pinnacle, the front of a triangle on somewhere, just something to be giving the opportunity, giving people the opportunity to be leaders and to lead in at any level. I think in music there's so many opportunities to do that, and so again, just being in band is a leadership position because you have to know your part, you know, and that you're a leader at that point because you're leading your section because you know your part, and that's just how you are. Just being in music my whole entire career and having those skills I learned from my leaders really helped me get through life, and it's still doing the same thing here. I'm still going through it, performing now with like I said, with the Mesilla Valley Concert Band, and getting that opportunity. Just sort of Dr. Michael Mapp gave me the opportunity to perform in the band. I mean, that's really pretty amazing. Just giving me that opportunity. So again, I think it's just a really cool thing that I was given those opportunities from all my peers and my leaders. So it's been nice.
That's great. Yes, music does develop those skills. So just, a note out there to all parents and grandparents, get your kids into music because look at what they can become and look at how much it helps them grow and develop into leaders. We've got another question, and then I'm going to pivot to some other questions that I have. But we have another question from the audience. I think this one's pretty quick. Rick Bilberry, Mike, did you come across other NMSU grads in the military bands?
Yes, so proud of them. Oh my gosh, so proud. Yeah, there's a gentleman, I didn't know him very well, but I know of him, Doug Quincy. He's a horn player at NMSU. And I'm not sure, I'm thinking maybe 10 years ago. I don't know exactly how long that, but he got a position with the United States Marine Band president, the president's own, and how proud I was I was so proud of him, somebody from NMSU, right? And the funny coincidence about that too is his brother, his younger brother, Paul Quincy, was a trumpet student of mine when I was in NMSU. I was giving his brother trumpet lessons when I was at NMSU. And now I believe Paul went on to be a lawyer, but wonderful little trumpet player. And I just had some memories, but have the connection with the Quincy's was kind of neat. Also, a wonderful person that I knew when I started playing trumpet. She was a couple of years ahead of me, Jer Turner. She's also retired as a sergeant major from the United States Army Field Band in Washington, D.C. So I was in contact with her since I started my first year playing trumpet. I remember meeting her and listening to her when she was in junior high. So she was always, again, a mentor of mine too, and somebody that I really looked up to. And then, yeah, she got a job with the Army Field Band way back when and retired as a sergeant major. Very proud of her, trumpet player. And currently, we do have Sonia uh, Delomo, Candelaria Delomo. She is a flute player, and she got a job with the United States Army Band as a flute player in the ceremonial band. And she was a student of uh, Miss Lisa Van Winkle when she was here at NMSU. When Sonia was here, she was a student, and she's from Alamogordo, right? Little Alamogordo, and she has a position playing flute with a ceremonial band in the United States Army Band, Pershing Zone, right now, currently. So proud of her when she came in. I was like, wow, cool. NMSU, yay. You know, it was one of those really great connections. And so there are some people that, come out from this area. They try hard enough and they try hard. And yeah, and so we've had those connections with some of the alumni from NMSU here. So very proud of them.
That's awesome. Aggie's out there in the world. I think, Mike, you've
Hmm.
kind of showed them the way there. So
Well,
thank you for that.
of course.
Um, so I'd like to ask Alexa, maybe you can tell us about some exciting new things that are going on with the band currently, upcoming events. I know that we have a concert that we start the school year off, but tell us about some things coming up with the band. Excuse me.
Yes, so right now it's just prepping everything for the season. We had leadership auditions, student staff auditions, everything's been announced. Everyone's just we're inventorying equipment, seeing what we need. Our shows are being written for the next year. And yeah, we'll have band camp in August. Right after band camp, we have concert on the Green, which is right outside Corbett. There's Autumn Overture here in Atkinson Recital Hall, I believe in September. And then before every football game, we play outside of the Pan Am. We call it Power Hour. It's always 1 hour after kickoff. And then we'll play exhibitions at the marching competitions we host here at BOA and TOB.
Yeah, those are always so much fun to watch and be a part of. So I'd like to transition into here at the end how alumni can help support you, because we know that there is a lot that is involved with the Pride Band. So maybe you can help us understand, the alumni out there, how they can help participate to help shape the future of the band, and with various support.
Yeah, so everything comes from like we all pay student fees, but it's a lot to feed 250 people at every event and be replacing this equipment that it goes through wear and tear. I mean, it's a marching band. But just helping us cover these costs so we can do more, so we can focus on our money on other places, and just showing up for performances. I mean, our concert on the Green, it happens every year, and every year it's getting bigger, and it's really meaningful for those of us that have been there and those of us that are new. But yeah.
Yeah, showing up. Showing
Mhm.
up as an Aggie. I call it Aggie up. We all have to Aggie up and show up and support the Pride Band, show up and support athletics. And when you're going to football games, you're supporting both Aggie athletics as well as the Pride Band. And I love going to the concert on the Green. That is really a fun event. Mike, what's one tangible impact that maybe supporters might not realize that they're making when they're helping the band?
I think they support just a general support, but it's not cheap to run a band of how many members are there now in the band?
I think she said
You
around
know,
250-ish, something like that. Yeah.
there are things that the band needs. I mean, like Alexis just mentioned, like food to feed them, travel somewhere. I think just it's having that support is huge because, like I said, it's not cheap to have such a big group. But also, I just think that being there at the games and just talk to a student. If you see a student pass by and you don't even know who they are, but you see them with a uniform on, just reach out and say, "Hey, nice job. You guys sounded amazing." You know, and thank them. Say thank you so much for what you do, for the support that you give as a musician in the Pride Band. Thank you for what you do. You are so important because it's all true. It's all true. That there's a whole bunch of dedication that goes into that, right? So just being out there and just supporting them just verbally, great. That's the way to do it. Is just, give them some pride. Huh. No pun intended, right? Give them some pride. And just, lift them up and tell them that, hey, you know, we're the band is so supportive for the university and you're so important and you're doing a good job. I think that's really huge.
Yes, that is huge, and that is very important.
Mhm.
That's a great answer. Just real quick lightning round for both of you. Favorite halftime show?
I
Ooh, the
think.
pride again, they kind of blend together, but I do have one that I did a solo. It was a solo at the beginning, and there was a solo guard, Lisa. She was right next to me. We did a solo performance, and that was really nice. I remember that one. And also, there is a picture out there. I think it was on the front page of the newspaper where I had me and two of my buddies playing La Fiesta. So it was a really neat trumpet piece. But to be able to remember being in front of the Pride Band doing that, which was really a great experience and a great memory of mine. But just recently being part of the alumni events this past year, where I got the Distinguished Alumni, I got to play. I had the amazing opportunity to perform the national anthem with the Pride Band. That is was so amazing to have that support, and just to have the band right behind me, and I'm playing the national anthem. It was just really honorable and it was really meaningful to me. So that was a big one that I remember just because it was so recent as well. But a lot of memories of others as well. But that one, because it was recent, oh my gosh, it meant so much to me. So I was really thankful for that opportunity. That was cool.
Alexa, any favorite halftime show?
Yes, I think my favorite is from this last season. We had a country show, and I'm not someone who's very into country music, but the movement that I would go on the center ladder for was Country Roads, and there was a break in the middle where the band would start singing Country Roads, and I think at one of the games when I looked down and everyone was swaying and singing Country Roads Take Me Home, I think it was just really special, and I was like, this is crazy. 250 people on a field lining up their every move is something really crazy to look at.
Yeah, I do remember that. It is fun when you can kind of participate along with the band at halftime. So, well, sadly, I think our time is coming to an end. I think we could continue to go on and talk about just how great the Pride Band is, the Pride of New Mexico, and the contributions that you both are making and continue and have made in the past, Mike and Alexa, continue to make in the future. I think that the future is bright for the Pride of New Mexico and for the students that participate in it and the leadership that you all show, whether students are in the band or not, you continue to show leadership and help show all New Mexico State University students just where they can go in life, being a part of NMSU and part of the Pride of New Mexico band. On behalf of the NMSU Foundation, thank you. Thank you all so much for joining our Always an Aggie live webinar. I hope you enjoyed the opportunity to connect with other Aggies virtually and that you'll continue to do so and join us every quarter. If you have an idea for a future episode or would like to suggest someone as a panelist, please reach out to us at alumni@nmsufoundation.org. A big, huge Aggie thank you to Alexa and Mike for spending time with us today and sharing insights into the past, present, and future of the Pride of New Mexico Marching Band. I think we all have so much pride and so much to be thankful to you both for. Before we say goodbye, I'd like to encourage everyone to visit alwaysanaggie.org and learn about the many ways you can become involved, especially as an Aggie champion, which is the perfect way for busy people to make an impact on their own schedule for their own Aggie interests and passions. Stay tuned for more information about upcoming Always an Aggie webinars in July and October. Thank you again for joining us. We'll say, go Aggies, Aggie up. Go Aggies. Thank you.
Go Aggies.